Standing in the shadow of an ancient monument, you run your fingers along grooves carved into stone with such precision that even today's lasers would struggle to match it. These aren't just scratches in rock, they're the fingerprints of civilizations long gone, left behind in structures so meticulously crafted that modern engineers still scratch their heads in disbelief. How did they do it with no blueprints, no power tools, and often no written records to guide them? Our ancestors created wonders that defy logic and time itself. From the echoing halls of lost temples to the silent gaze of towering statues, these marvels whisper secrets we've yet to fully decipher. Picture this, a single slab of rock, transformed into a temple so intricate that every inch tells a story, yet carved from the top down, a technique that would challenge even the most skilled sculptors today. Or imagine moving stones heavier than 10 elephants across miles of rugged terrain, arranging them so perfectly that not a blade of grass could slip between the seams. These aren't scenes from fantasy, they're real achievements etched into our world by hands we'll never know. The deeper you look, the more the questions multiply. Were they masters of forgotten technologies? Did they possess knowledge lost to the ages? Or is there something even more extraordinary waiting to be uncovered? This is a journey through time, across continents, and into the heart of history's greatest architectural puzzles. We'll explore 25 of the most baffling structures ever built, monuments that shouldn't exist, yet stand defiantly against the erosion of centuries. Each one is a riddle wrapped in stone, daring us to unravel its mysteries. From the celestial alignments of pyramids to the subterranean cities carved beneath our feet, these wonders don't just belong to the past. They challenge our understanding of human potential. So take a step closer and let's unravel the enigma together. The answers, or perhaps even more tantalizing questions, are just ahead. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a marvel because of its size. Though standing at over 450 feet tall, it's certainly imposing. What truly baffles experts lies hidden inside. The interior passageways and chambers are aligned with near-perfect precision, their angles matching mathematical constants with an accuracy that seems impossible for a structure built over 4,500 years ago. The joints between the massive limestone blocks are so seamless that you can't slip a sheet of paper between them, and yet there are no visible tool marks to suggest how such precision was achieved. Some researchers argue that the ancient Egyptians must have possessed advanced techniques lost to time, perhaps even specialized tools we haven't yet discovered. Others believe it was simply the result of painstaking craftsmanship, a lifetime of skill passed down through generations of stonemasons. But then there's the celestial connection. The pyramid's sides align almost perfectly with the four cardinal directions, and its shafts point directly to key stars in the night sky, suggesting its builders had an extraordinary understanding of astronomy. And here's the real mystery: the pyramid's construction predates the invention of the wheel in Egypt by centuries, meaning every block, some weighing as much as 80 tons, was moved and placed using methods we still can't fully replicate today. Did they use ramps, counterweights, some form of ancient technology we've yet to uncover? The Great Pyramid doesn't just stand as a tomb, it stands as one of humanity's greatest unsolved puzzles, a silent monument to knowledge we may never fully recover. The Temple of Kailasa at Ellora isn't just carved into the rock, it was freed from it. Imagine standing before a mountain and deciding to sculpt an entire temple by removing everything that wasn't part of the design. That's exactly what happened here. Over 200,000 tons of solid basalt were painstakingly chiseled away, not added piece by piece, but subtracted from a single massive outcrop. The result, a sprawling complex of courtyards, chambers, and towering pillars, all flowing seamlessly from the living rock as if it had always been there. What makes Kailasa truly mind-bending is the method. Unlike most structures which are built from the ground up, this temple was carved from the top down. Workers began at the summit, cutting downward in precise layers, shaping the roof first, then the walls, and finally the floor. One wrong strike could have ruined the entire design, yet every detail, from the delicate lotus motifs to the life-sized elephant sculptures, is flawless. The pillars alone are a marvel, their spiral grooves so uniform they seem machine-tooled, though they were crafted over 1,200 years ago. Then there's the scale. The temple covers an area double the size of the Parthenon, with a central tower rising nearly 100 feet high. To put that in perspective, removing that much rock by hand would be like digging out an Olympic-sized swimming pool, with nothing but hammers and chisels. The symmetry is another puzzle. Every corridor, every statue aligns perfectly with the temple's axis, suggesting the builders used advanced measuring techniques we've yet to decipher. Legends say it was constructed in less than 20 years, a timeline that seems impossible without modern machinery. Some theories even speculate about lost tools or forgotten technologies, but no evidence has ever been found. The truth may be simpler and more extraordinary. This wasn't just construction. It was a feat of vision, patience, and skill so profound that even today, it challenges everything we think we know about the limits of human ingenuity. The Temple of Kailasa doesn't just stand as a monument to faith, it's a silent question carved in stone, waiting for an answer. Hidden within the rose-red cliffs of Jordan's desert, the Petra Treasury emerges like a mirage, a masterpiece carved not from stone, but from the very mountain itself. Its façade, towering over a narrow canyon, is a symphony of intricate details, delicate floral patterns, mythological figures, and celestial symbols, all chiseled with such precision that they appear almost lifelike. What's astonishing isn't just the artistry, but the fact that these carvings have endured for over 2,000 years, exposed to wind, sand, and sun, yet their edges remain as sharp as the day they were made. The craftsmanship here defies simple explanation. The Nabateans, the nomadic traders who built Petra, left no records of their tools or techniques. Yet the treasury's reliefs, some so detailed they depict individual strands of hair, suggest the use of specialized instruments far beyond basic chisels. Modern engineers have theorized about copper alloys or even early forms of drills, but no such tools have ever been discovered. The absence of tool marks on the softer sandstone only deepens the puzzle. How did they achieve such smooth surfaces without leaving a trace of their process? Then there's the question of purpose. Unlike the pyramids or temples, the treasury wasn't a tomb or a place of worship, at least not in the traditional sense. Its Arabic name, Al-Khosneh, comes from a local legend that pirates hid treasure in the urn atop its façade, but excavations have revealed no such hoard. Some scholars believe it was a ceremonial space, perhaps linked to the Nabateans' trade routes, while others argue it served as a royal tomb. The truth is buried somewhere in the whispers of the wind echoing through its empty halls. And who were these creators? The Nabateans were nomads, not known for monumental architecture, yet Petra stands as a testament to their sudden and unexplained engineering prowess. The city's hidden location, accessible only through a narrow, winding gorge, suggests it was designed to be both a fortress and a showpiece. But why invest such effort in a structure so concealed? The treasury doesn't just challenge our understanding of ancient tools. It forces us to rethink what we know about the people who wielded them. Their legacy isn't written in scrolls or inscriptions. It's etched into the cliffs, waiting for someone to read between the lines. Standing silently on the slopes of Easter Island, the Moai statues gaze inland with an air of quiet mystery, their massive forms defying both time and logic. Carved from compressed volcanic ash at the Raraku quarry, these towering figures average 13 feet tall, but some loom over 30 feet, weighing as much as 2 fully loaded semi-trucks. What's astonishing isn't just their size, it's the journey they took. Dozens of these monolithic sculptures were transported up to 11 miles across rugged terrain, with no wheels, no draft animals, and no evidence of pulleys or cranes to assist in their movement. The craftsmanship alone is staggering. Each Moai's elongated face, strong brow, and pursed lips were chiseled with stone tools called toki, yet the precision of their symmetrical features rivals modern sculptural techniques. Some bear intricate carvings on their backs resembling ceremonial belts or tattoos, details that would have required painstaking effort, but the real puzzle lies in how they reached their final posts. Oral traditions speak of the statues walking with the help of divine power, while researchers have tested theories involving wooden sledges, rocking motions, and even ropes to tilt them forward in a controlled shuffle. Experiments show some methods could work, but none fully explain how ancient islanders moved 80-ton giants without snapping ropes or toppling them onto fragile basalt roads. Then there's the revelation that transformed our understanding. Many Moai aren't just heads. Excavations revealed most are full-bodied figures buried up to their shoulders, with elaborate carvings hidden beneath the soil. Some torsos feature crescent-shaped designs linked to Polynesian canoe symbolism, while others sit atop platforms containing human remains. Were they guardians of sacred sites? Ancestral markers, the discovery of red stone cylinders atop certain statues possibly representing hair or headdresses, hints at rituals we've only begun to unravel. Even the quarry holds secrets. Nearly half-finished Moai remain tethered to the rock, as if the sculptors abandoned their work mid-chisel. Tools lie scattered nearby, suggesting a sudden halt to centuries of labor. Was it environmental collapse, conflict, or something more deliberate? The Moai don't just represent artistic achievement. They are a silent testament to a society that pushed the limits of possibility, then vanished, leaving behind riddles in stone. Their blank eyes seem to hold answers we're still straining to hear. Rising from the jungles of Java like a stone mandala reaching for the heavens, Borobudur Temple is a masterpiece of spiritual geometry, a mountain of carved wisdom that still guards its most profound secrets. Constructed in the 8th century during the Sailendra dynasty, this colossal structure forms a perfect three-dimensional representation of Buddhist cosmology, with 9 stacked platforms symbolizing the journey from earthly desire to enlightenment. But it's the staggering craftsmanship that stops historians in their tracks. Over 2,600 relief panels wind along the temple's galleries like an ancient comic strip, each one carved into hard andesite stone with such minute detail that individual strands of jewelry and facial expressions remain crisply visible after 12 centuries of tropical weather. The mystery lies in the tools. Andesite ranks just below diamond on the hardness scale, making it brutally difficult to shape without modern equipment. Yet artisans somehow produced panels showing intricate scenes from the Jataka tales, some containing over 150 figures per square meter, with no surviving evidence of the chisels or abrasives they used. Experiments with replica tools suggest it would take a master carver an entire month to complete just 1 square foot of this work, meaning Borobudur's reliefs would have required generations of uninterrupted labor. But historical records mention no such marathon project. Even more perplexing is the temple's celestial alignment. During the equinoxes, sunlight strikes the central stupa at precise angles that illuminate hidden Buddha statues in the upper terraces, while the entire structure mirrors the constellations visible during 9th century Vesak celebrations. This astronomical precision implies the builders possessed sophisticated knowledge of both mathematics and seasonal star patterns, knowledge that shouldn't have existed in Southeast Asia at the time. Then there's the sudden abandonment. For reasons still debated, Borobudur was deserted less than 200 years after its completion, buried under volcanic ash until rediscovered in 1815. No inscriptions explain its purpose, no tools were left behind as clues, and even local legends speak only of its construction by spirits. Was it a university, a pilgrimage site, or something more esoteric? The temple's silent corridors offer no easy answers, only the quiet certainty that those who built it knew far more than history has chosen to tell us. Cut into the face of a remote basalt cliff in western India, the Ajanta and Ellora caves unfold like a gallery frozen in time, a labyrinth of devotion, artistry, and engineering that defies simple explanation. Unlike structures built from quarried stone, these 34 caves at Ellora and 29 at Ajanta were carved inward from solid rock, their pillared halls, shrines, and monasteries hollowed out with a precision that suggests the workers could see through stone. At Ajanta, the walls come alive with murals painted in rich ochres, lapis lazuli, and malachite colors so vibrant after 1500 years that they seem freshly applied. Scenes of celestial dancers, royal processions, and Buddhist legends unfold with such lifelike detail that individual eyelashes and fabric folds are discernible, a testament to brushes likely made from squirrel hair or delicate reeds. But the real mystery isn't just the artistry, it's the light. Deep within these windowless chambers where sunlight never reached, artisans painted and carved without leaving a single trace of soot or smoke. No charred torches, no oil lamp residues, no ventilation shafts for fumes. How did they illuminate these spaces to achieve such flawless work? Some theorize polished metal mirrors angled sunlight through successive openings, while others suggest hollowed-out floors filled with glowing bioluminescent fungi or refined oils in glass vessels. Yet no physical evidence supports these claims, leaving the cave's flawless murals as the only clues to a lost lighting technology. Ellora's Kailasa temple, part of the same complex, amplifies the enigma. Here, workers removed over 200,000 tons of rock, not by stacking blocks, but by chiseling downward from the cliff's peak, as if sculpting a statue from marble. The result is a freestanding temple complex complete with bridges, balconies, and a central spire, all carved from a single piece of living stone. The precision is staggering. Pillars ring like metal when struck, their lathe-turned symmetry suggesting the use of rotating tools, while niches and reliefs align perfectly despite being carved by different teams working simultaneously from opposite ends. Then there's the acoustics. Certain chambers amplify whispers into clear echoes, while others mute sound entirely, effects that couldn't have been accidental. Were these spaces designed for rituals, meditation, or something beyond our understanding? The cave's builders left no written records, only these silent, painted halls where shadows dance across the faces of stone Buddhas, their smiles holding secrets we may never decipher. Every stroke of color, every chisel mark, speaks of a civilization that mastered its environment with tools and techniques lost to history, leaving behind not ruins but a challenge to look deeper, question harder, and marvel at what human hands can achieve when guided by unseen knowledge. Perched on a hillside overlooking Cusco, the Sacsayhuamá fortress is a monument that seems to defy the very laws of physics. Its walls, composed of colossal limestone blocks, some weighing over 300 tons, are stacked in a zigzag pattern so precise that the joints between them disappear when the sunlight hits at the right angle. These aren't just rough-hewn stones slapped together. Each one is a unique puzzle piece, with edges cut at irregular angles that lock into their neighbors like a three-dimensional jigsaw. The fit is so exact that even after 500 years of earthquakes, not a single gap has widened enough to slip a razor blade through. What's baffling isn't just the precision, but the logistics. The nearest quarry lies over 20 miles away across steep Andean terrain. Without wheels, pulleys, or draft animals stronger than llamas, how did the Inca transport these megaliths? Some theories suggest they used logs and ropes to rock the stones inch by inch, while others propose that the blocks were somehow softened or molded on site, a technique hinted at in local legends but never proven. Then there's the cutting. The stone surfaces are flawlessly smooth, with no chisel marks or tool grooves, as if they were shaped by something far more advanced than the bronze tools the Inca are known to have used. But the mystery deepens when you consider the wall's design. The zigzagging tiers aren't just decorative, they're engineered to dissipate seismic energy, a feature modern architects still study for earthquake-resistant buildings. Was this intentional, or did the Inca stumble upon a structural fluke? And why build such a fortress here? Some argue it was a military stronghold, yet its location offers little strategic advantage. Others believe it was a ceremonial site, aligned with solstice sunrises and the constellation of the Llama, sacred in Incan cosmology. Then there's the missing mortar. Unlike other ancient sites, Sacsayhuamán stones rely solely on their perfect fit for stability. No adhesive, no filler. This technique, called ashlar masonry, appears in a handful of other Incan structures, but nowhere else on Earth at this scale. Did the Inca inherit this knowledge from an older civilization, or was it the product of generations of trial and error? The fortress stands silent, its stones whispering of a mastery over materials we've yet to fully comprehend. Every perfectly angled corner, every seamless joint, is a challenge to our modern assumptions about what ancient builders could or couldn't achieve. Angkor Wat doesn't just dominate the Cambodian jungle, it defies the very idea of what a temple should be. Stretching across 400 acres, this sprawling complex isn't merely the largest religious monument on Earth. It's a celestial blueprint rendered in stone. Every inch of its sandstone walls pulses with carvings so intricate they could fill an encyclopedia. Over 6,000 square feet of bas-reliefs depicting everything from Hindu epics to historical battles. Each panel alive with a level of detail that would challenge modern artisans armed with power tools. But the real wonder isn't just the artistry, it's the fact that these carvings, exposed to monsoon rains and tropical heat for 900 years, show almost no erosion. The sandstone blocks quarried from Mount Kulin over 30 miles away behave unlike any natural stone. When struck, they ring like metal, and their surfaces resist pitting and weathering in ways geologists still can't fully explain. Some theories suggest the Khmer builders treated the stone with a plant-based sealant lost to time, while others point to the precise mineral composition of the quarry itself. Then there's the temple's cosmic alignment. During the spring equinox, the sun rises directly over Angkor Wat's central tower, a phenomenon so precise it couldn't have been accidental. The temple's 5 towers mirror the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, the mythical home of the gods in Hindu cosmology, while the surrounding moat represents the cosmic ocean. But the celestial connections go deeper. Researchers have found that Angkor Wat's layout maps specific constellations visible in the 12th century, with key corridors aligning to solstices and lunar cycles. This astronomical precision suggests the Khmer Empire possessed sophisticated knowledge of mathematics and celestial navigation knowledge that rivals the expertise of European astronomers centuries later. The construction process is another enigma. Unlike most temples built incrementally over generations, Angkor Wat appears to have been completed in under 40 years, a timeline that seems impossible without advanced logistics. Estimates suggest over 5 million tons of sandstone were transported, carved, and fitted without the use of mortar, all while supporting a workforce of tens of thousands. How did they coordinate such an effort without written records or modern machinery? The answer may lie in the temple's hidden layers. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed vast, unexplored chambers beneath the complex, some containing metal objects of unknown purpose. Perhaps most haunting is the temple's sudden transformation in the 14th century. Originally dedicated to Vishnu, Angkor Wat quietly became a Buddhist site, its Hindu carvings left untouched while new statues of the Buddha appeared in its halls. Was this a peaceful transition or a silent rebellion? The temple keeps its secrets close, its walls whispering of a civilization that understood the stars, mastered stone, and then vanished into the jungle, leaving behind a monument that still challenges everything we think we know about the past. Buried beneath the dusty plains of southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe doesn't just rewrite history, it tears up the entire textbook. This sprawling complex of circular enclosures, each anchored by towering limestone pillars, predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the pyramids by 7,000. But what truly shocks archaeologists isn't just its age, it's who built it. These monumental structures weren't the work of an advanced agricultural society with organized labor. They were carved by nomadic hunter-gatherers, people who supposedly spent every waking hour foraging for food, yet somehow found the time and skill to erect what may be the world's first temple. The pillars themselves are marvels of prehistoric art, standing up to 18 feet tall and weighing as much as 20 tons. Each T-shaped monolith is etched with elaborate reliefs of scorpions, foxes, and vultures, their outlines so crisp they could have been carved yesterday. The animals aren't just decorative, they form a symbolic language with serpents coiling around edges and birds mid-flight frozen in stone. The sophistication of these carvings would be impressive for any era, but for a time when humans were still using flint tools and hadn't yet domesticated wheat or animals, it's downright revolutionary. How did they do it? That's the question haunting researchers. Without metal tools, wheels, or even permanent settlements, how did these early people quarry, transport, and erect such massive stones? Experiments show that carving a single pillar with stone tools would take a team months, and moving it would require hundreds of people working in unison, a level of social organization previously thought impossible before agriculture created surplus food and hierarchical societies. Yet here it is, proof that hunter-gatherers achieved what we assumed required farms and cities. Even more puzzling is the site's purpose. Unlike later temples, Göbekli Tepe shows no signs of daily habitation, no hearths, no trash pits, just carefully arranged pillars encircling altars that may have been used for rituals. Some researchers believe it functioned as a spiritual gathering place where scattered bands met seasonally to carve, worship, and then deliberately bury the structures under thousands of tons of soil, a practice seen in later cultures but never on this scale. Others argue the carvings are an early form of storytelling, a communal memory bank for nomadic groups. Then there's the elephant in the room, agriculture. The conventional timeline says humans first settled down to farm around 10,000 years ago, but Göbekli Tepe predates that shift. Intriguingly, the site sits in the very region where wheat was domesticated. Could the temple's construction and the need to feed its builders have actually spurred the invention of farming? It's a chicken or egg dilemma that turns our understanding of civilization's origins on its head. The most haunting mystery, though, is why Göbekli Tepe was abandoned. After centuries of use, the entire complex was meticulously backfilled around 8000 BC, preserved like a time capsule for modern explorers. Was it a sacred act or something more pragmatic? The answer, like so much about this site, remains hidden in the earth, waiting for the next stroke of a trowel to reveal truths we're not even sure we're ready to learn. Every carved animal, every aligned pillar whispers a single truth. Our ancestors were far more capable and far more mysterious than we ever imagined. Perched on a windswept cliff overlooking the Mediterranean, the Hagakim temples stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that thrived over 5,000 years ago, long before the pyramids of Egypt or Stonehenge took shape. What makes these Maltese megaliths extraordinary isn't just their age, but the delicate artistry that somehow survives in one of the softest stones on Earth. The temple's Globigerina limestone is so porous that a fingernail can leave a mark, yet intricate spirals, animal figures, and even lattice-like designs adorn the walls with crisp edges that defy time. These carvings, some of the oldest in Europe, should have crumbled to dust under centuries of salt-laden winds and rain, yet they remain as sharp as the day they were chiseled, a preservation miracle that geologists still struggle to explain. The mystery deepens when you examine the construction itself. Massive stone blocks, some weighing over 20 tons, were arranged into apsidal chambers with such precision that the interiors align perfectly with solstice sunrises. During the summer solstice, sunlight pierces the temple's elliptical doorway like a laser, illuminating a specific altar slab, an effect that couldn't have been accidental. But how did Neolithic builders, working without metal tools or written language, achieve such astronomical accuracy? The absence of chisel marks suggests they used a technique lost to history, perhaps grinding the stone with quartz or another abrasive harder than limestone. Then there's the question of purpose. Unlike later temples, Hagakim shows no signs of habitation. No hearths, no tools, just altars and niches that hint at ritual use. The most striking discovery was a collection of fat lady statues, curvaceous figurines that may represent a fertility goddess, though their true significance remains debated. Even more enigmatic are the temple's acoustic properties. Certain chambers amplify whispers into eerie echoes, while others distort sound in ways that mimic underwater acoustics, an effect some researchers link to ancient myths of temple priests communicating with the gods through earth vibrations. Theories about the builders range from the plausible to the extraordinary. Some scholars argue the temples were communal gathering spaces, while fringe theories suggest they were healing centers or even ancient observatories. One tantalizing clue comes from the nearby Mnajdra temple complex, where carvings of star constellations match the night sky of 3600 BC. Were these sites linked to celestial events, or was their alignment purely symbolic? The greatest puzzle, though, is the civilization's sudden disappearance. After flourishing for over 1,000 years, the temple builders vanished around 2500 BC, leaving no written records, just these silent stone circles and the faint echoes of rituals we can only guess at. The temples don't just challenge our understanding of Neolithic engineering, they force us to reconsider what primitive societies were capable of. In their softly glowing limestone walls, we catch glimpses of a people who measured the heavens, mastered stone, and then walked away from their creations, leaving behind riddles that the Mediterranean wind still whispers to those who listen closely. Towering over the confluence of 3 rivers in China's Sichuan province, the Leshan giant Buddha isn't just a statue, it's a geological marvel. At 71 meters tall, this serene figure carved into the cliffside is so massive that a single toenail could accommodate a small car, and its ears stretch over 20 feet long. But scale isn't the only thing that makes this 8th century masterpiece extraordinary. Hidden within its folds and robes lies an engineering secret, a labyrinth of drainage channels so precisely designed that they've kept the Buddha intact for over 1,200 monsoons. Rainwater cascades through gutters concealed in the statue's coiled hair, down sleeves, and into discreet outlets near its base, preventing erosion that would have crumbled lesser carvings centuries ago. The construction story is even more astonishing. Led by a monk named Haitong in the year 713, the project aimed to calm the treacherous waters where the Min, Dodu, and Kingi rivers collided, a spot notorious for shipwrecks. Haitong believed the Buddha's presence would pacify the currents, and legend says he gouged out his own eyes to prove his devotion when officials tried to seize the project's funds. Teams of workers dangled from ropes, chiseling downward for 90 years, removing enough stone to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Yet how they achieved such symmetry without modern surveying tools baffles engineers. The proportions are flawless, the Buddha's eyes perfectly level despite their 40-foot separation, the hands resting on knees with mathematical precision. Then there's the mystery of the missing debris. Unlike other cliff carvings, no rubble piles or quarry sites have ever been found nearby. Some theorize the excess stone was dumped into the rivers to alter their flow, ironically fulfilling Haitong's original goal, as the submerged rocks did calm the waters. Others suggest it was repurposed for nearby temples, though no records confirm this. Most intriguing are the statue's hidden chambers. Recent scans reveal hollow spaces behind the chest, possibly containing sealed artifacts or inscriptions, but erosion has made access too risky. The Leshan giant Buddha endures as both a spiritual icon and an engineering riddle, its lips curved in a smile that seems to guard secrets carved into the cliffs of time. Every rain-washed groove, every shadow in its sandstone folds, whispers of a civilization that could move mountains or, in this case, carve away just enough to reveal divinity in the rock. Beneath the sun-baked plains of Cappadocia lies a hidden world that defies logic. The Derinkuyu underground city, an 18-story labyrinth carved entirely from soft volcanic tuff. Unlike ordinary caves, this isn't just a series of hollowed-out chambers. It's a meticulously planned metropolis complete with ventilation shafts, wells, stables, and even wineries, all descending nearly 300 feet into the earth. The scale is staggering enough to shelter 20,000 people for months, yet so precisely engineered that air circulates effortlessly through 52 vertical shafts, some stretching to the surface like natural elevators. What's most baffling isn't just the city's existence, but how it was built. The rock here is soft enough to carve with basic tools, yet the symmetry of the tunnels, some wide enough for 3 people to walk abreast, others narrowing to strategic choke points, suggests an advanced understanding of structural stability. Doorways are capped with massive rolling stone discs, each weighing up to half a ton, designed to seal corridors from the inside. But here's the puzzle. No soot marks the ceilings from torches, and no traces of pulley systems or scaffolding have ever been found. How did workers illuminate these depths or lower construction debris back to the surface? Then there's the question of who used Derinkuyu and why. Conventional wisdom says it was a refuge for early Christians fleeing Roman persecution, yet parts of the city date back to the Hittites in 1200 BC, a civilization with no known need for subterranean hideouts. Some chambers bear crosses, while others feature niches aligned with solstice sunlight, hinting at layered uses across millennia. The city's plumbing is another marvel. Hundreds of feet below ground, fresh water flowed through clay pipes to communal kitchens, while wastewater drained into pits so deep their bottoms remain unexplored. Most haunting are the unanswered logistical questions. Without written records, how did generations of builders avoid collapsing earlier tunnels? How were ventilation shafts drilled straight through multiple levels without modern measuring tools? And why invest centuries of labor into a place meant to be invisible? The rock itself holds whispers of panic gouges on tunnel walls where doors were hastily sealed, animal bones suggesting sudden abandonments. Derinkuyu doesn't just challenge our understanding of ancient engineering, it forces us to reconsider what survival looked like for civilizations under threat. This wasn't a temporary shelter, it was a fully realized underground universe, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of the unknown. As you stand in its silent passages, the weight of the earth above feels less like rock and more like a question. What were they hiding from that we've yet to discover? Walking into the Hypostyle Hall of Karnak is like stepping into a stone forest. Each of the 134 columns towers overhead, their lotus-shaped capitals stretching so wide that 10 people could stand atop one without touching. These aren't just supports, they're canvases, every inch covered in hieroglyphs and reliefs so precise they could have been stamped onto the stone by machine. Yet these carvings were painstakingly chiseled over 3,000 years ago, their consistency across acres of sandstone a testament to what might be history's first example of mass production. The real marvel isn't just the artistry, it's the logistics. Teams of artisans worked simultaneously across the hall, yet their styles blend seamlessly, as if guided by a single hand. No surviving records explain how they coordinated this feat without blueprints or modern measuring tools. The columns themselves hold another puzzle. Though they appear uniform at first glance, subtle variations reveal an ingenious optical trick. Those at the center stand taller and thicker, creating an illusion of perfect symmetry when viewed from the hall's entrance, a technique Renaissance architects wouldn't rediscover for millennia. Even more perplexing are the pigments. Traces of original paint still cling to sheltered crevices, their vibrant blues and reds defying the chemistry of known ancient dyes. Some hues, like a distinctive turquoise, can't be replicated even with modern analysis of their mineral content. Then there's the celestial dimension. During the winter solstice, sunlight pierces the hall's axis at dawn, illuminating a sequence of reliefs depicting the god Amun-Ra's rebirth. This alignment isn't approximate, it's mathematically precise, matching the sun's angle from 3,200 years ago when the hall was completed. Recent laser scans revealed something even stranger. Slight irregularities in certain columns actually correct for atmospheric refraction, compensating for how sunlight bent through Egypt's humid dawn air. How did builders account for this without understanding optics? Perhaps the greatest mystery lies beneath the hall. Ground-penetrating radar has detected voids and anomalous densities in the foundation, suggesting earlier structures or even hidden chambers. Some theorists believe Karnak's layout encodes sacred geometry, with column positions mapping to constellations as they appeared during Pharaoh Seti's reign. Others point to acoustic oddities. Whispers spoken near the sacred lake carry clearly to the hall's inner sanctum, an effect that couldn't be accidental in a temple where ritual chants were central to worship. Unlike the pyramids built over decades by single rulers, Karnak grew organically across 2,000 years. Each pharaoh added their mark, yet the hall maintains a cohesive vision, as if bound by an unbroken artistic tradition. The tools that made this possible, copper chisels, sandstone abrasives, seem laughably inadequate for work of this scale and precision. No known grinding methods explain how they polished columns to a mirror finish, or how draft animals transported 500-ton obelisks from quarries hundreds of miles away without damaging the soft sandstone. The temple's final secret may be its workforce. Unlike slave labor depicted in Hollywood, records show Karnak's builders were highly skilled artisans paid in grain, beer, and land. They left behind villages with medical clinics and bakeries, evidence of a society that valued its craftsmen. Yet no amount of goodwill explains how they achieved such perfection with primitive tools. Walking between these columns, you're left with two possibilities. Either we've drastically underestimated ancient Egyptian technology, or Karnak's builders possessed knowledge that vanished with them, leaving only these silent stone sentinels as clues to what humanity once accomplished. Puma Punku doesn't just challenge our understanding of ancient engineering, it laughs in the face of it. Scattered across Bolivia's high-altitude plains, these shattered stone blocks look like the wreckage of some celestial machine, their edges cut with geometric precision that would require computer-guided tools today. The andesite stone used here is a volcanic rock so dense that modern masons need diamond-tipped blades to work it, yet these pieces were sliced, drilled, and polished with surfaces so smooth they reflect light like glass. What's left is a puzzle, interlocking blocks weighing up to 130 tons, some featuring dovetailed joints and perforations so precise they resemble industrial components. One slab, known as the H block, has 48 identical recesses carved into its face at perfect 90-degree angles, a feat impossible to replicate freehand without advanced measuring devices. The mystery deepens when you examine the tool marks. Certain cuts show evidence of high-speed drilling, with spiral grooves suggesting the use of a rotating tool far beyond the copper chisels and stone hammers known to local cultures. Other surfaces bear parallel striations, as if planed by a blade moving in a straight line with unerring consistency. Even more baffling are the pockmarks dotting some stones' shallow, cup-like depressions that some researchers believe were used to anchor metal clamps, though no traces of such fasteners have ever been found. Then there's the question of logistics. The nearest andesite quarry lies over 50 miles away, across rugged terrain at 12,000 feet above sea level. How were these megaliths transported without wheels or pack animals capable of hauling such loads? Local Aymara legends speak of giants who built the site in a single night, or of gods who melted stone like wax, stories that seem almost plausible when you run your fingers over edges sharper than a razor. The site's purpose is another enigma. Unlike temples or tombs, Puma Punku lacks clear ceremonial spaces or burials. Some theorize it was part of a larger complex linked to nearby Tiwanaku, possibly serving as a docking platform for reed boats when the area was flooded. Others propose it functioned as an astronomical observatory, with certain alignments matching solstice sunrises. The most radical theories suggest it was a power plant or even a landing site, fueled by speculation about the block's uncanny resemblance to modern electrical insulators. Yet the greatest puzzle isn't what Puma Punku was, but who built it. The Tiwanaku culture, which thrived between 500 and 1000 AD, is the usual suspect, but their known tools and techniques fall woefully short of explaining the site's precision. Carbon dating of organic material in the mortar places construction around 500 AD, yet some geologists argue the stones show weathering patterns consistent with being submerged millennia earlier, a discrepancy that fuels debate about the site's true age. Walking among these ruins, you're left with two uncomfortable possibilities. Either an ancient civilization possessed knowledge far beyond what historians acknowledge, or Puma Punku's builders inherited techniques from a forgotten predecessor. The stones themselves offer no answers, only silent defiance. Every cut, every angle, whispers that the past we think we know might be just a fragment of a much stranger truth. The colossi of Memnon rise from Egypt's western desert like silent guardians of a forgotten age, their weathered faces still bearing traces of the grandeur they once commanded. Carved from single blocks of quartzite, a stone so hard it ranks just below diamond on the Mohs scale, these twin statues of Pharaoh Amenhotep III tower 60 feet tall, each weighing approximately 720 tons. To put that into perspective, that's heavier than two fully loaded Boeing 747 jets. The logistics of their creation boggle the mind. The quartzite was quarried over 400 miles away near modern-day Cairo, then transported across the Nile without the use of wheels or pulleys, as the technology didn't exist in Egypt during Amenhotep's reign in the 14th century BC. But it's not just their size that astounds, it's the artistry. Despite their colossal scale, the statues feature intricate carvings of the pharaoh's pleated kilt, the delicate feathers of the god Ammon adorning his crown, and even the subtle musculature of his arms. Such precision would be remarkable on a small sculpture, let alone a monolith. The statues once flanked the entrance to Amenhotep's mortuary temple, the largest ever built in ancient Egypt, though earthquakes and Nile floods reduced the complex to ruins. Only the colossi remain, their feet now submerged in rising groundwater, their original paint long since scoured away by desert winds. Then there's the mystery that made them legendary. In 27 BC, an earthquake shattered the northern colossus, collapsing its upper torso. Shortly after, visitors began reporting an eerie phenomenon. At dawn, the damaged statue would emit a faint musical sound described by ancient Greeks as a song or whistle. The historian Strabo claimed to hear it himself, while the Roman Emperor Hadrian traveled here just for the chance to witness it. Some said it sounded like a lyre string snapping. Others believed it was the voice of Memnon, the mythical Ethiopian king slain by Achilles, greeting his mother, the dawn goddess Eos. Scientists now attribute the sound to temperature changes, morning sunlight warming dew trapped in the statue's cracks, causing vibrations. But the effect stopped abruptly in the 3rd century AD when Emperor Septimius Severus repaired the statue, likely plugging the resonant fissures. Yet the colossi's greatest secret remains their survival. Quartzite is notoriously brittle. Modern engineers struggle to move slabs a fraction of this size without fracturing them. How did ancient workers transport these behemoths intact? Some theorize they were floated on barges during Nile floods, while others suggest they were dragged on sledges lubricated with water or clay. The truth may lie buried beneath the sands, along with the ruins of the temple they were meant to guard. Standing before them today, you're left with two indelible impressions: the sheer audacity of a civilization that could carve mountains into gods, and the haunting sense that these giants still have stories to tell, if only we could decipher the language of stone. Rising from India's eastern coastline like a stone chariot frozen mid-journey, the Sun Temple of Karnak is a monument where art, science, and mystery collide. Designed as a colossal representation of the sun god Surya's celestial chariot, the temple's 12 pairs of intricately carved wheels aren't just decorative. They function as precise sundials, their spokes casting shadows that mark the hours with uncanny accuracy. But the real wonder lies in the details. Each of these 3-meter-tall wheels is adorned with 8 thin spokes, symbolizing the 8 phases of the day, while the temple's 7 rearing horses, originally straining against invisible reins, represent the days of the week. The entire structure was engineered to align with the solstices, so that dawn's first light would flood through the main entrance, illuminating the sanctum's statue of Surya in a golden embrace. Yet it's the temple's hidden secrets that truly baffle experts. The main tower, now collapsed, was said to have housed a massive lodestone at its peak, a naturally magnetic mineral that caused the entire structure to behave like a compass. Historical accounts describe how ships navigating the nearby Bay of Bengal could detect the temple's magnetic pull, using it as a navigational landmark. Even more perplexing are the stone joints between the temple's massive blocks. Fitted together without mortar, their precision is so exact that they've withstood centuries of cyclones and salt-laden winds, yet show no signs of erosion. Modern engineers have found that the stones were interlocked using a unique system of grooves and ridges, a technique far ahead of its 13th century origins. Then there's the abrupt abandonment. Despite its grandeur, the temple was deserted shortly after completion, with local legends speaking of a cursed magnet that disrupted compasses and caused ships to wreck. Some theories suggest the lodestone's removal destabilized the tower, while others point to invading armies or shifting trade routes, but the most haunting clue lies in the temple's own carvings. Among scenes of dancers, elephants, and celestial beings, one panel stands out, a solemn procession of figures carrying what appears to be a coffin, their heads bowed as if mourning the temple's own fate. Today, the ruins whisper of a civilization that mastered both stone and science, only to walk away from their masterpiece. The surviving chariot wheels, now tilted at odd angles like frozen gears of time, remain as silent witnesses to a mystery as vast as the sun itself, a riddle carved not just in stone but in the very forces of nature. Hidden in the rugged highlands of northern Ethiopia, the Lalibela churches appear as if the earth itself opened up to reveal a sacred city. These 11 medieval sanctuaries weren't built. They were revealed, carved downward into living volcanic rock with a precision that defies their 12th century origins. The most famous, Bet Georgis, takes the form of a perfect cross, its roof lying flush with the ground while its walls plunge 40 feet into the earth. Every detail, from the mock windows to the decorative arches, meticulously chiseled as if the rock had always known it would become a church. What makes Lalibela truly extraordinary isn't just the scale, but the method. Unlike traditional construction, where stones are stacked upward, these churches were excavated downward, their creators removing everything that wasn't part of the design. Imagine standing atop a solid rock outcrop and carving a cathedral beneath your feet, shaping columns, altars, and even drainage systems from a single piece of stone. The interiors are even more astonishing. Some feature frescoes painted with pigments derived from crushed local minerals, their colors still vibrant after 8 centuries. Others are connected by a labyrinth of tunnels and trenches, some so narrow worshippers must turn sideways to pass a deliberate design choice symbolizing the struggle to reach spiritual enlightenment. The logistics are mind-bending. Historians estimate that creating Lalibela required removing over 100,000 cubic feet of rock, all with basic iron chisels and hammers. Yet there's no evidence of rubble piles or quarry sites nearby. Where did all the excavated stone go? Local tradition claims angels carried it away under cover of darkness, while archaeologists speculate it was crushed into mortar or used to fill hidden chambers. The workforce remains another mystery. Medieval texts speak of 40,000 laborers working in shifts, fed by a never-depleting supply of bread and beer, a claim that, even if exaggerated, hints at an operation rivaling the pyramids. Then there's the celestial alignment. During certain feast days, sunlight filters through strategically placed apertures, illuminating specific carvings of saints and crosses. The entire complex mirrors the layout of biblical Jerusalem, with a trench named the River Jordan separating the churches into earthly and heavenly groupings. This wasn't just architecture, it was theology rendered in stone, a pilgrimage site designed to mirror the divine. But the greatest enigma is King Lalibela himself. According to legend, he conceived these churches after a divine vision during a poison-induced coma, then oversaw their construction in just 24 years, a timeline that seems impossible without supernatural aid. Some scholars suggest he repurposed even older pre-Christian structures, pointing to carvings that resemble ancient Sabaean symbols. Others note the church's uncanny resistance to earthquakes, their flexible, monolithic walls absorbing shocks that would topple conventional buildings. Walking through Lalibela's shadowy passages, you're struck by the weight of devotion, not just in the ornate crosses and candle-blackened ceilings, but in the very act of carving faith into the bones of the earth. These churches weren't meant to impress, they were meant to endure, a testament to what hands guided by conviction can achieve. Every chip in the rock, every worn step in the tunnels, whispers the same question: was this the work of men or something more? Standing alone on the windswept plains of Bolivia's Altiplano, the Gate of the Sun isn't just a relic, it's a riddle carved from a single block of andesite, 10 tons of stone transformed into a celestial cipher. At first glance, it resembles a monumental doorway, though no walls remain to frame it. But look closer, and the surface comes alive. A central figure radiates like a sun god, flanked by 48 smaller winged beings, their arms raised as if caught mid-dance. Every detail, from the deity's tear-shaped eyes to the geometric patterns bordering the arch, was chiseled with micrometer precision, a feat that would challenge modern sculptors working with power tools. The real marvel, though, isn't just the artistry, it's the astronomy encoded in the stone. During the winter solstice, dawn light strikes the gate at an angle that illuminates the central figure's face, while shadow patterns align with notches along the archway to mark celestial events. Researchers have found that the 48 subsidiary figures likely correspond to a calendrical system, possibly tracking Venus's 8-year cycle or lunar months. But here's the twist: the gate's original location remains unknown. It was discovered collapsed near Tiwanaku's main temple complex, but the wear patterns on its base suggest it stood elsewhere for centuries before being moved. Some archaeologists believe it once crowned a pyramid, acting as both spiritual portal and astronomical observatory. The tools used to create it deepen the mystery. Andesite is volcanic rock so hard that steel chisels would shatter against it, yet the gate's carvings show no signs of hammer marks or trial and error adjustments. The lines are so crisp they appear laser-cut, with drilled holes perfectly cylindrical, a technique some experimental archaeologists have failed to replicate even with copper alloy tools and abrasives. Local legends speak of a mythical golden wedge gifted by the gods, said to soften stone, while fringe theories propose ultrasonic drilling or lost metallurgical techniques. Perhaps most haunting is the gate's unfinished backside, rough-hewn as if abandoned mid-creation. Was it a ritual act, leaving the mundane side untouched to symbolize the boundary between earthly and divine? Or did some catastrophe interrupt its makers? The Tiwanaku civilization itself offers few clues. Flourishing between 500 and 900 AD, they left no written records, only this silent sentinel watching the sky, its carved eyes holding secrets we've yet to decipher. Every solstice sunrise, when light dances across its surface like a key searching for a lock, the gate whispers the same tantalizing question: were its creators astronomers, priests, or keepers of a knowledge we've since forgotten? Jutting defiantly against the crashing waves of the Bay of Bengal, the Mahabalipuram shore temple isn't just surviving the elements, it's mocking them. Built in the 8th century from solid granite blocks, this pyramidal marvel has endured 1,300 years of cyclones, salt sprays, and monsoon winds that should have reduced it to rubble. Yet its carvings, delicate scenes of gods riding chariots, mythical lions mid-pounce, and celestial dancers frozen in stone remain as sharp as the day they were chiseled. The secret lies in the material. Unlike most coastal temples built from softer sandstone, the Pallava dynasty chose granite so dense it repels water like a duck's feathers. But here's the puzzle. Granite is notoriously difficult to carve, requiring tools harder than itself. How did 7th century artisans, working only with iron chisels and hammers, achieve such fluid, lifelike details in this unforgiving stone? The temple's resilience isn't its only mystery. Local fishermen have long whispered of submerged structures just offshore, their outlines visible during unusually low tides. These legends gained startling credibility in 2004 when a tsunami exposed a half-buried lion sculpture and collapsed walls on the seabed. Marine archaeologists later identified at least 6 additional temples lying beneath the waves, their layouts mirroring the shore temple's design. Could these be the remnants of the 7 pagodas described in medieval European sailors' logs, mythical towers said to glow at dusk? The discovery raises eerie questions. Was Mahabalipuram once part of a sprawling sacred complex claimed by the sea? And if so, what cataclysm sank it? Geological evidence points to a massive tsunami around 950 AD, coinciding with the temple's abrupt abandonment. Then there's the celestial alignment. The temple's main shrine faces east, positioned so the equinox sunrise strikes a carving of Vishnu reclining on the cosmic serpent, an effect that only occurs when the sun's angle is precisely calculated. Even more intriguing are the miniature model temples carved along its base, each replicating the main structure in perfect proportion. Some scholars believe these were architectural blueprints, while others argue they served as ritual objects. But the most haunting detail hides in plain sight, a series of grooves along the temple's foundation stones, seemingly designed to channel water away from the structure. Were these added after the tsunami as a safeguard, or did the builders anticipate the ocean's wrath? Modern engineers have tried to decode the temple's secrets by studying its mortar-less joints. Each block was cut with slight convexity, creating tension that locks the stones together tighter than any adhesive. This technique, combined with the temple's aerodynamic shape, allows hurricane-force winds to flow around it rather than against it, an ancient form of stormproofing we've only recently rediscovered. Yet for all our analysis, the shore temple guards its greatest secret, the quiet confidence of its creators, who carved not just for their time, but for millennia unseen. Every wave that crashes against its walls seems to whisper the same challenge: outlast me if you can. Descending into the hypogeum of Hypostyle feels less like entering a tomb and more like stepping into the belly of a living, breathing organism. This labyrinth of underground chambers, carved from Malta's soft Globigerina limestone over 5,000 years ago, isn't just a burial site. It's a symphony of shadows and echoes, where every curve and corridor seems to whisper secrets. The walls pulse with red ochre paintings of spirals, some swirling like galaxies, others coiled tight as springs, their meanings lost to time. But the real marvel isn't just what you see, it's what you hear. Certain chambers transform sound in ways that defy physics. A low chant in one niche reverberates through the stone, amplifying into a chorus, while in another, whispers become distorted, echoing as if underwater. Modern acousticians have mapped these effects, discovering that frequencies between 90 and 120 Hz, the range of a male baritone, resonate most powerfully, inducing trance-like states in listeners. Were these spaces designed as sonic temples where rituals harnessed sound to alter consciousness? The precision of the carvings deepens the enigma. Despite the softness of the limestone, the spirals maintain razor-sharp edges, some no wider than a fingernail, with no visible tool marks. Experimental archaeologists have tried replicating them with bone or obsidian tools, but achieving such crisp lines without fracturing the stone remains elusive. Even more puzzling are the sleeping lady figurines found here, plump, reclining figures carved with anatomical details so precise they suggest generations of observational knowledge. Yet these same artists left no depictions of tools, animals, or daily life, only these cryptic symbols and silent stone watchers. Then there's the logistics. The hypogeum descends 3 levels deep, with chambers mimicking above-ground temples of the same period, complete with false windows and carved doorways but entirely hollowed from bedrock. The builders worked in near-total darkness, yet avoided collapsing adjacent tunnels, suggesting an intimate understanding of the stone's stress points. Where did they dispose of the excavated material? Estimates suggest over 2,000 tons of limestone were removed, yet no rubble piles have ever been found nearby. Most haunting is the evidence of sudden abandonment. In the deepest chamber, known as the Holy of Holies, human remains were found in poses suggesting rapid burial, with no signs of ritual preparation. Was this a sacred cataclysm or something more mundane? The hypogeum doesn't just challenge our understanding of Neolithic engineering, it forces us to reconsider the very purpose of sacred spaces. Were these halls of the dead or bridges to another realm, their spiraling carvings and resonating chambers designed not just for the living, but for voices we can no longer hear? The walls hum with possibilities, their secrets sealed in stone and silence. Deep in the jungles of Chiapas, Mexico, the Temple of the Inscriptions doesn't just dominate the landscape, it guards a secret buried beneath its 6-step terraces. At first glance, this 60-foot-tall Mayan pyramid appears like others in Palenque, its limestone facade adorned with intricate carvings of gods and rulers. But what sets it apart lies hidden within, a labyrinth of stairways descending into the pyramid's heart, leading to a tomb so carefully concealed that it eluded explorers for 1,300 years. When archaeologist Alberto Ruz Lulia discovered the hidden entrance in 1952, he uncovered more than a burial chamber. He found a time capsule of Mayan engineering and cosmology, its walls whispering stories in hieroglyphs as crisp as the day they were carved. The tomb itself is a masterpiece of precision. The 20-ton sarcophagus lid, carved from a single slab of stone, depicts King Pakal the Great suspended between the underworld and the heavens, his body entwined with the world tree, a cosmic axis central to Mayan belief. Surrounding him are glyphs so meticulously chiseled that they record over 180 years of Palenque's history, including precise astronomical events like the transit of Venus. But here's what stuns researchers. The alignment of the temple's stairway mirrors the path of the sun during the winter solstice, allowing sunlight to pierce the inner chamber on specific dates, illuminating the sarcophagus like a spotlight. This wasn't just a tomb, it was a celestial clock engineered to connect the king's journey to the cosmos. Then there's the hidden chamber beneath the tomb, discovered in 2016 using ground-penetrating radar. This subterranean space, still largely unexplored, features an underground water channel that some believe symbolizes the Mayan underworld's rivers. Others speculate it's part of a larger network, perhaps linked to Palenque's intricate drainage system. The real puzzle, the pyramid's construction. Unlike Egyptian pyramids built from quarried blocks, this one was assembled using interlocking stones fitted with such precision that they've withstood centuries of earthquakes and jungle humidity. The mortar used remains a mystery, a compound so durable it's resisted erosion, yet no records explain its composition. Most haunting are the unanswered questions. Why build a pyramid around a tomb rather than the reverse? How did Mayan architects calculate the stairway's exact angle to align with celestial events without modern tools? And what lies in the unexplored chamber? Additional burials, sacred artifacts, or something more enigmatic? The Temple of the Inscriptions doesn't just memorialize a king. It challenges our understanding of Mayan ingenuity, its stones holding secrets as layered as the jungle vines that once concealed it. Every glyph, every aligned corridor, is a testament to a civilization that saw no boundary between earth and sky, between the mortal and the divine. Rising 600 feet above the Sri Lankan jungle like a stone dagger, Sigiriya isn't just a fortress, it's a vertigo-inducing masterpiece of ancient audacity. This 5th century citadel, built atop a sheer volcanic plug, defies logic at every turn. Its most jaw-dropping feature, a series of vibrant frescoes painted directly onto the cliff face, depicting celestial maidens whose jewel-toned hues have miraculously survived 15 centuries of monsoons and scorching sun. These aren't mere decorations. The women's elaborate headdresses and poised gestures suggest they were part of an elaborate ritual narrative, though their true meaning remains as elusive as the pigments used to create them, colors derived from unknown organic compounds that outlast modern synthetic paints. Then there's the mirror wall, a polished parapet running alongside the cliff's vertiginous pathway. Originally coated in a glaze so fine it reflected like actual glass, this surface now bears the scratched graffiti of over 1,000 years of visitors, including 8th century poetry praising the beauty of the frescoed maidens. The precision of the wall's curvature is mind-boggling. Maintaining such a smooth, reflective surface across uneven rock required grinding and polishing techniques that shouldn't have existed in the ancient world. Some sections still retain their original sheen, proving the builders mixed mineral powders with unknown binders to create a near-indestructible finish. But the real engineering marvel lies in the fortress's bones. The entire western face of Sigiriya was transformed into a gargantuan lion's gateway. Only the massive paws remain today, their claws gripping the rock with anatomical precision. Staircases originally ran through the beast's throat, emerging onto terraced gardens that floated in midair, supported by cantilevered brick platforms. These hanging gardens weren't just ornamental. They functioned as sophisticated hydroponic systems, with capillary irrigation channels carved into the stone to sustain exotic plants hundreds of feet above ground level. The mysteries multiply when you consider logistics. How did workers haul thousands of tons of brick and mortar up near vertical surfaces without harnesses or pulleys? Local legends speak of bamboo scaffolding stretching into the clouds, while archaeologists point to notches cut into the rock face, evidence of an elaborate climbing system long since vanished. Even more perplexing are the symmetrically placed depressions along the summit's edges, perfectly sized to hold rotating wooden beams. Were these part of a primitive elevator system, or anchors for awnings to shield laborers from the sun? Debates still rage about Sigiriya's purpose. Built by the exiled King Kashyapa as both palace and stronghold, it was abandoned after his death, leaving behind tantalizing clues. The summit's layout mirrors mandala designs, suggesting it doubled as a spiritual center, while strategic sightlines to distant mountains hint at astronomical functions. Some researchers believe the entire site was designed as a cosmic clock, with solstice sunrises aligning precisely with carved viewing platforms. Others note the unnatural acoustics. Certain courtyards amplify whispers into booming echoes, possibly for ritual use. Perhaps most haunting is the unanswered question of the workforce. Chronicles claim Kashyapa employed architects from Persia and India, yet the construction techniques, like interlocking brickwork that flexes during earthquakes, are uniquely Sri Lankan. Were these methods developed here or inherited from some lost civilization? The rock itself holds silent testimony to human ambition, its weathered surfaces whispering of artists who painted on the ceiling of the sky and engineers who turned a mountain into a monument. Every foothold carved into the cliff, every faded brushstroke on the frescoes, asks the same unanswerable question. Was this the work of a paranoid king or something far greater? A statement of what humans can achieve when they dare to build the impossible. Carved into the honey-colored limestone cliffs flanking the river, the Longmen grottos stretch across nearly a mile of rock face like a gallery of stone ghosts. This isn't just a collection of statues, it's a symphony of devotion, with over 100,000 Buddhist images chiseled into the living rock between the 5th and 8th centuries. Walking through the caverns feels like stepping into a frozen congregation. Towering Buddhas draped in stone robes so delicately carved they ripple with imagined movement, flanked by celestial musicians frozen mid-song, their fingers poised over silent lutes and flutes. The scale is staggering. Some figures soar over 50 feet tall, their faces alone taller than a grown man, while others are no larger than a fingernail, crammed into niches like sacred confetti. What's truly baffling is the consistency. Despite being created across 3 dynasties by countless unnamed artisans, the grottos maintain an uncanny stylistic harmony. The earliest northern Y dynasty figures are slender and ethereal, with elongated fingers and serene smiles, while later Tang dynasty additions grow plumper and more lifelike, reflecting shifting artistic ideals. Yet the transition is seamless, as if guided by an invisible master plan. This level of coordination would be impressive in a modern assembly line, let alone a project spanning generations in an era without blueprints or standardized training. How did artists working centuries apart achieve such continuity? Some scholars point to meticulous pattern books passed down through monastic workshops, while others believe the limestone itself dictated the style, its softness allowing for intricate details but eroding quickly if carved too thinly. Then there's the mystery of the missing tools. Limestone, though softer than granite, still requires hardened chisels to shape, yet no metal implements capable of such precision have been found at the site. Experiments with replica Tang dynasty tools suggest artisans might have used a combination of iron chisels and bamboo drills tipped with abrasives, but reproducing the grotto's finest details like the individual beads of a bodhisattva's necklace or the translucent curls of a stone lotus petal remains frustratingly out of reach. Even more perplexing is the logistics. The cliffs are vertical, with no natural ledges or platforms. Scaffolding would have been necessary to reach the highest carvings, yet no anchor holes or support remnants have been discovered. Some carvings are positioned so precariously that modern restorers use mountain climbing gear to access them, raising the question of how medieval workers managed without harnesses or safety ropes. The grottos also guard a darker secret. Many statues bear the scars of vandalism not from modern looters, but from 9th century anti-Buddhist purges, when zealots methodically defaced what they saw as idolatry. Ironically, this destruction reveals another layer of technical mastery, the hollow construction of certain colossal statues. Originally, these figures weren't solid stone. Their torsos were built as shells, supported by internal timber frameworks that rotted away over time, leaving cavities that actually helped the statues survive earthquakes. This ingenious technique, similar to modern earthquake-resistant architecture, suggests an understanding of structural engineering centuries ahead of its time. Perhaps most haunting is what the grottos don't show. Unlike European cathedrals where artisans left behind signatures or workshop marks, Longmen's creators vanished into anonymity. No payrolls, no sketches, not even the quarry sites for the limestone have been definitively identified. The statues themselves are the only records, their silent lips holding the names of dynasties long gone, their stone eyes watching as the river below carries away the answers we'll never recover. Every chisel stroke, every smoothed fold of drapery whispers the same humbling truth. Some masteries are so complete they erase even the memory of their own making. The Temple of the Feathered Serpent rises from the heart of Teotihuacan like a stone hymn to the cosmos. its six-step tiers adorned with sinuous carvings that seem to slither across the surface when sunlight strikes at dawn. Unlike the angular pyramids of Egypt, this structure pulses with movement. Feathered serpents coil around pillars, their scales meticulously defined, while the rain god Tlaloc stares from gaping mouths, his eyes hollowed to hold sacrificial offerings. But the true marvel lies in the precision of these carvings. Each serpent's feather, each deity's eyelid, is rendered with anatomical accuracy that would demand laser-guided tools today. Yet artisans achieved this with nothing harder than obsidian blades. The stones fit together so tightly that during equinoxes, shadows cascade down the pyramid's northern staircase in perfect undulations, creating the illusion of a massive serpent descending to Earth, an effect that requires mathematical calculations of the sun's angle to within fractions of a degree. Beneath this celestial theater, the temple guards an even darker secret. In 2010, archaeologists using ground-penetrating radar discovered a network of tunnels snaking beneath the structure, some leading to chambers filled with liquid mercury, an element so rare and toxic in ancient Mesoamerica that its presence defies explanation. The tunnels mirror the path of the Milky Way as seen from Teotihuacan's Central Avenue, suggesting the entire complex was designed as a mirror of the heavens. But why line these passages with mercury, a substance the Aztecs associated with the underworld? Some theorize it symbolized sacred rivers, while others believe its reflective properties were used in rituals to commune with gods. The tunnel's walls bear strange markings, not hieroglyphs, but geometric patterns that align with seismic fault lines, hinting at an understanding of geology far beyond what historians attribute to this civilization. Then there's the mystery of the builders themselves. Teotihuacan predates the Aztecs by centuries, yet the temple's iconography blends multiple cultures, Maya rain gods, Zapotec symbols, even influences from distant Teotihuacano traders. The construction techniques are equally hybrid. The pyramid's core consists of rubble and earth, a common method, but its facade uses a unique form of concrete made from crushed volcanic rock and lime, a recipe that has kept the carvings intact through earthquakes and erosion. Modern engineers have tried replicating this mortar, but their versions crumble within decades, while the original has endured for over 1,500 years. Most haunting are the sacrificial offerings found within the pyramid's layers, not just jewels or pottery, but entire jaguars and eagles, their skeletons arranged in ritual poses. Some chambers contain human remains with cranial deformations, their skulls elongated to mimic the gods depicted in the carvings. This wasn't mere worship, it was an attempt to reshape humanity in the divine image. The temple's final enigma is its abrupt abandonment. Unlike other Mesoamerican sites, Teotihuacan shows no signs of invasion or natural disaster. Its people simply walked away, leaving behind a city and a pyramid that whispers of knowledge we're only beginning to glimpse. Every feathered serpent, every mercury-filled tunnel asks the same unanswerable question: were these the works of men or attempts to reach something far greater? The stones hold their silence, their secrets coiled as tightly as the serpents carved into their skin. Beneath the sands of Abydos lies a structure so enigmatic that even Egyptologists argue over its origins: the Osirian, a sunken temple of colossal stone blocks that seems to defy the timeline of ancient Egyptian architecture. Unlike the pyramids or Karnak's towering columns, this subterranean maze feels oddly primal, its stark granite slabs arranged into a rectangular island surrounded by a water-filled moat. The walls, carved with passages from the Book of Gates and other funerary texts, suggest a link to Osiris, god of the underworld, yet the building's brutalist style clashes with the delicate hieroglyphs adorning its surfaces, as if two different civilizations left their mark. The precision of the stonework is the first clue that something extraordinary happened here. The blocks, some weighing over 60 tons, are fitted together with joints so tight they reject even the thinnest blade. But here's the twist. The construction style eerily resembles the Valley Temple of Giza, built 1,000 years earlier. The granite shows tool marks inconsistent with the copper chisels of the New Kingdom period when the Osirian was supposedly constructed. Some researchers argue these grooves indicate the use of saws with jeweled teeth or advanced abrasives, while others insist the structure is far older, a relic from a pre-dynastic culture later co-opted by Pharaoh Seti I, whose nearby temple aligns perfectly with the Osirian's axis. Then there's the water. The moat wasn't accidental. The entire complex was designed to flood, with channels suggesting a deliberate hydraulic system. Was this a symbolic representation of the primordial waters of Nun, or something more practical? Recent sonar scans revealed underwater cavities that may lead to uncharted chambers, fueling speculation about hidden initiation rites or even lost artifacts. The most haunting detail, though, is the alignment. During the summer solstice, sunlight pierces Seti's temple corridor, striking a stela deep within the Osirian's gloom, an effect requiring celestial knowledge so precise it rivals modern astronomy. Debates rage over who built it and why. The orthodox view attributes it to Seti's reign, but the absence of royal cartouches or construction records is suspicious. Alternative theorists point to the megalithic parallels with sites like Ollantaytambo in Peru, another place where massive stones were somehow maneuvered with impossible precision. The Osirian doesn't just challenge our understanding of Egyptian engineering, it whispers of a shadow history, a thread connecting cultures we never suspected were linked. Every chip in the granite, every silent ripple in its black waters, asks the same unsettling question. Are we looking at the work of pharaohs or the echo of a civilization so old we've forgotten its name? The structure's final secret may lie in its abandonment. Unlike other Egyptian sites, the Osirian shows no signs of gradual decay. It was meticulously backfilled with sand and rubble, almost as if someone wanted to preserve it for future discovery. Whether it was a ritual act or a practical one, the result is the same, a time capsule of stone and water, waiting for the right key to unlock its story. Until then, it remains Egypt's most haunting architectural ghost, a puzzle not just of how it was built, but why it was buried. Lying half-buried in the red granite quarries of Aswan, the unfinished obelisk is more than just a failed project, it's a frozen moment in time. A 1,200-ton snapshot of ancient engineering caught mid-stride. If completed, this colossal needle of stone would have soared 137 feet into the sky, dwarfing every other obelisk ever erected in Egypt. But what makes it priceless isn't its intended glory, it's the rare glimpse it offers into the sweat, ingenuity, and sudden crisis that halted its creation. The surrounding bedrock bears the scars of its birth, deep trenches chiseled around its outline, their walls pockmarked with the rhythmic strikes of countless workers' dolomite pounders. These tool marks, preserved like fingerprints in the rose-colored granite, reveal a startling truth: the obelisk wasn't carved from a detached block, but painstakingly freed from the living earth itself, inch by grueling inch. The extraction method was as audacious as it was labor-intensive. Teams of workers would have pounded the granite along predetermined lines using stone hammers harder than the bedrock itself, creating a network of channels around the obelisk's silhouette. Wedges of wood, soaked in water until they expanded with irresistible force, may have helped split the stone free along its base, but here's where the mystery deepens. The bottom third of the obelisk remains fused to the quarry floor, its separation abruptly abandoned. A jagged crack snakes through the upper section, not a flaw in the stone, but a stress fracture caused by uneven pressure during the final stages of detachment. Was this the fatal flaw that doomed the project, or was there something else, a political upheaval, a religious edict, or even a technological breakthrough that made the effort obsolete? The obelisk's sheer scale raises another puzzle. Transporting such a monolith to the Nile would have required a sled crew of over 6,000 men dragging it across lubricated tracks, a feat depicted in temple reliefs but never attempted at this magnitude. Some theorists propose the Aswan quarry was chosen precisely because the river's annual floods could have floated the obelisk downstream, yet no infrastructure for such an operation has ever been found. Even more perplexing are the diagonal grooves carved into the obelisk's sides, not decorative, but likely anchorage points for ropes during maneuvering. These grooves mirror those on finished obelisks, suggesting the Egyptians polished and inscribed these monuments after transport, not before. Perhaps the most tantalizing clue lies in the quarry's discarded tools. Dolomite hammers litter the site, many worn down to nubs from months of pounding. But among them, archaeologists have found traces of copper chisels, a metal too soft for granite under normal circumstances. Recent experiments suggest the Egyptians may have used a forgotten technique, heating the stone with fire before rapidly cooling it with water or vinegar to create microfractures, allowing even copper tools to make headway. If true, this would rewrite our understanding of their metallurgical knowledge. The unfinished obelisk doesn't just represent a failed endeavor. It's a testament to the razor's edge between ambition and reality in ancient engineering. Its abandoned form challenges our romanticized visions of flawless pharaonic projects, revealing instead the sweat, risk, and occasional failure behind Egypt's miracles in stone. Every unpolished edge, every interrupted chisel stroke, whispers the same humbling truth. Even the greatest civilizations sometimes bit off more than they could chew. And yet, in its incompleteness, the obelisk speaks louder than any finished monument, a raw, uncensored diary entry from a world that usually showed us only its final draft. From the towering pyramids to the hidden underground cities, these 25 structures stand as silent witnesses to civilizations that refuse to be bound by the limits of their time. They weren't just built, they were dreamed into existence, each stone a testament to human curiosity and determination. Think about it, the same hands that lacked modern tools, the same minds without computers or blueprints, somehow unlocked secrets of engineering, astronomy, and artistry that still leave us speechless today. What's astonishing isn't just the precision or the scale, it's the sheer diversity of these marvels. A temple carved from the top down in India, a city hidden beneath the earth in Turkey, statues so massive their creators should have needed cranes, yet they didn't. These aren't just random acts of construction, they're deliberate, almost defiant declarations of what people believed was possible, and that's the real magic here. These builders didn't just work with stone, they collaborated with time itself, creating monuments that would outlast empires, languages, even memories of their own names. But the most thrilling part, the mysteries aren't locked away in the past. Every year, new technologies like ground-penetrating radar or 3D scanning reveal hidden chambers, invisible inscriptions, or clues about forgotten techniques. The unfinished obelisk in Egypt isn't just a failure, it's a frozen classroom teaching us how these giants were born. The magnetic stones of Karnak's Sun Temple hint at knowledge we're still piecing together. These places aren't relics, they're conversations, and we're only just beginning to hear their whispers. So here's the challenge they leave us, to keep looking, questioning, and marveling. Because every time we think we've figured them out, they surprise us. Maybe the answers aren't in the tools we've lost or the texts we can't read, but in the way we choose to see them. Not as puzzles to solve, but as invitations to wonder, to explore, and to remember that human ingenuity has always been our most powerful tool. If these ancient wonders have sparked your curiosity, dive deeper. Share which structure left you most amazed in the comments, or let us know about other mysteries you'd love to see explored. And if you enjoyed this journey through the echoes of history, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures into the unknown. The past isn't finished speaking. Are you listening?